It all started with a legend, one that had been whispered from generation to generation. A grave hidden deep within the forest, said to be the resting place of the Jinn King. No one dared to approach it, fearing the curse that surrounded it. But curiosity is a powerful thing, and four friends, Rian, Demas, Cinta, and Anton, decided to challenge the unknown. They traveled deep into the forest, guided by a tattered old map Demas had found in his grandfather's belongings. The further they went, the colder the air became. The sun disappeared behind thick clouds, and the trees around them seemed to whisper their disapproval. "This is ridiculous," Anton muttered. "Why are we even doing this?" "Because no one else has," Rian replied confidently. "Think about it. If we find the grave, we'll be famous." Cinta shivered. "Or cursed." Ignoring her warning, they pressed on until they finally reached a massive stone structure covered in moss. Strange carvings adorned its surface, and an eerie energy pulsed from within. "This must be it," Demas whispered, running his fingers over the symbols. The moment he did, the ground beneath them trembled violently. The sky darkened, and a gust of wind howled through the trees like a screaming spirit. Then, without warning, the ground beneath them collapsed. They screamed as they were swallowed by the earth, their bodies plunging into darkness. When they opened their eyes, they found themselves in a place that defied reality, a realm unlike anything they had ever seen. And they were not alone. The mystery they sought had now turned into a nightmare. Rian, Demas, Cinta, and Anton were trapped in a place beyond their imagination. A world that seemed inhuman, where the sky was blood red and the ground burned beneath their feet. There was no way out, only darkness lurking in every corner. What had happened, and how could they escape? They stood trembling, realizing they had stepped into another dimension. Demas tried to calm himself, but the eerie whispers surrounding them only grew louder. "We have to stay together," Rand said, trying to sound brave despite the fear in his eyes. In the distance, a massive gate towered over them. It was made of black stone, adorned with terrifying carvings that seemed to tell a horrific tale. Anton swallowed hard. "Are we supposed to go in there?" Suddenly, the ground beneath them trembled again. From the shadows, a monstrous figure emerged. Tall and skeletal, with glowing red eyes, it raised its hand, and in an instant, their bodies froze. They couldn't move, as if their energy was being drained by an invisible force. "You have crossed the sacred boundary," the creature's voice echoed, deep and haunting. "Now, you belong to our king." Cinta tried to scream, but no sound escaped her lips. Demas shut his eyes, praying this was all just a nightmare. But the scorching wind against his skin told him it was real. An unseen force dragged them toward the massive gate, even though they didn't move their feet. They were pulled deeper into the darkness. Beyond the gate, they saw a colossal palace floating in midair, glowing with eerie green light seeping from its cracks. "Our lord has been expecting you," the creature said before vanishing into the shadows. Now they stood before the palace doors. There was no turning back. Their only choice was to step inside. But what awaited them within? There was no turning back for Ryan, Demas, Cinta, and Anton. They stood at the gates of the Jinn King's palace, a floating structure surrounded by an eerie green mist. Each step they took felt heavier, as if something was slowly draining their strength. Yet they had no choice. What awaited them inside? Could they escape alive? The palace doors creaked open by themselves, revealing a long corridor dimly lit by flickering blue flames. Their footsteps echoed through the eerie silence. A chilling breeze swept through the air, carrying the scent of unfamiliar incense. At the end of the hallway stood a grand throne. Seated upon it was a towering figure with a golden crown. His eyes were pitch black, and a sinister smile played on his lips. "At last you have arrived," the voice echoed, cold and piercing. "I have been expecting you." Demas swallowed hard. "What do you want from us?" The Jinn King chuckled. "You came of your own will, searching for something that was never meant to be found. Now you are part of my kingdom." Cinta took a step back, but shadows within the room began to shift, forming ghastly figures that blocked their escape. "We don't want to stay here," Rian tried to sound firm. "But you have already chosen your fate," the Jinn King whispered. "The only way to leave is through sacrifice. Anton looked at the others in horror. What does that mean? One of you must stay, the Jinn King said with a chilling smile. One must become part of this kingdom so that the others may return. Silence fell over them. Their eyes darted between each other, panic creeping in. Would they really have to sacrifice one of their own? Demas clenched his fists. No, we're leaving together. As you wish, the Jinn King smirked, but your time is running out. Suddenly, the ground beneath them quaked. The palace walls began to shift as if coming alive, ready to consume them. The shadows grew closer, whispering in haunting voices. Cinta grabbed Ryan's arm. We have to do something. With a desperate glance, Ryan pulled a small dagger from his pocket, the one they had found near the grave before stepping into this world. The blade shimmered oddly under the palace lights. This isn't just any dagger, he whispered. Maybe this is the key to escaping. Demas seized the dagger and pointed it at the Jinn King. But before he could strike, the ruler of the Jinn laughed. Do you think you can harm me with that? Yet something happened. The dagger glowed even brighter, releasing an explosion of energy that shook the entire palace. The shadows shrieked, vanishing into nothingness. The palace itself began to collapse. Now's our chance, Ryan yelled. They ran toward a glowing doorway that had appeared. The Jinn King's enraged screams echoed behind them as they crossed the threshold. Suddenly, they woke up in the middle of the forest, the same forest where their journey had begun. There was no palace, no shadows, only the silence of the night. They exchanged horrified glances, their breaths ragged. What just happened? Cinta whispered. No one knew for sure, but one thing was certain. They would never speak of this journey again.